Go to Galveston, where Galveston City Mayor Lyda Thomas is talking.
Certainly for today, if we have another one, we'll schedule it according to the need to do so. Galveston is in a recovery mode. We hope that you will respect our efforts as we assess the damage to our city. We have had plans in place for recovery of our island for a long time. We've put them in place and used them before. We know how to do it, and we're getting ready to do that as we speak. Our partners include the county and the state of Texas. And Mr. LeBlanc will now tell you what the beginning of our recovery process is, and it begins right now. Steve?
Thank you, Mayor. The first order of business that the Mayor has signed off on is that the island is closed. No one will come in unless she is authorizing it. The state of Texas is also here. Mr. Jack Colley, Chief of the State Emergency Management Group, actually has already sent troops to us. If you didn't notice, the Black Hawk helicopters flying. That's search and rescue units, primarily focusing on the west end. I have no report as far as what they have found. I do have some reports on what we have found. Our fire department has conducted 42 searches of building structures that they have been able to get to. Out of those 42, 27 people have been taken to our shelter at Ball High School. 17 structures are collapsed. 10 of those are due to fires. We've had fires that are burning, some fires that are burning out of control. We have no water pressure. 7 of those are structure fire, 7 of those 17 collapsed buildings were due to the physical structure simply collapsing. And we have state units here that have scopes that will go through the debris and search the debris for any individuals who might be trapped. We have been able to make it down to 11-mile road so far. That's as far as we have access. And we will keep pushing westward as the water goes down and keep you posted as far as that's concerned. The causeway and the road into the island is in very bad shape. First of all, there's a lot of debris. Even if we didn't open it up, people couldn't get in physically anyway. The road is buckled in a number of places due to water getting under the pavement and causing problems there. In addition to that, there's just simply more debris, power lines, power poles, light poles, etc. that are all down. I know a lot of you have already been out and about in the city, and I know you've seen a lot of the damage that's already, very obvious. We are still assessing those, and we will continue with the curfew for the next, at least for the next 2 days, from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning. Okay, a couple of other things very quickly. The school, GISD, has been great. They still have at least a couple of hundred people in their shelter. The state has been great. They're going to send support to them in the form of food, water, and ice. So that should be arriving soon along with generators. So we're going to keep the shelter open for those that need it. And UTMB is, as I understand it, they are actually operating under emergency power. I don't know if y'all had an opportunity to talk to them, but what we understand is that UTMB is not actually doing any sorts of any serious emergency type of operations. Those patients that are in critical need, and there's been at least 4 that we know of, have been life flighted to other hospitals. UTMB is not in any position right now to provide critical care of any kind. And that's about it.
Any deaths?
Not that we know of at this point.
You know, overall, how many people that
I'd say it's getting close to at least 100. I don't have an exact count though, but it's pretty close to 100.
Can you just talk to us more about UTMB yesterday before the storm, all that black crystal things in the fire, all over?
Okay, I can tell you about the fire. The fire was a dry boat storage that was just north of UTMB that caught on fire, and a lot of that smoke billowed over into the UTMB area. And of course, it was surrounded, interestingly enough and ironically enough, by water. And we couldn't get to it, so it basically burned itself out. It had nothing to do, it was about 8 feet deep of water around it, so we had no way to access put out the structure. So it was allowed to burn in place, and I know a lot of the soot and whatever fell on UTMB, but there's obviously nothing we can do about that. We've had, as I said, there were, I kept lost count. There were 10, that's right, there were 10 fires that we were not simply able to get to. 10 basically homes that had caught on fire. There's a working fire as of about an hour ago on 75th Street. A pretty good fire. It's basically townhomes, and they are working that fire, and I think they'll certainly be successful in putting it out. But 10 homes have just simply burned, and we haven't been able to get to them. That I'm not aware of. I mean, there may have been, but again, I'm working on somewhat limited information. Well, the flooding is going down, obviously, but you can't, Harborside is impassable, at least an hour ago it was. The downtown, the historic district, unless you have a really, really high water vehicle, you can't get in there. There are parts of, I know that Broadway and just south of Broadway, in fact the entire stretch is impassable unless you have a high water vehicle, and that's concerning to us as well because, again, we can't get our units there. So it's draining off. It's going slowly because there's lots and lots and lots of debris in the drainage system, so it's having a very hard, it's choked off pretty bad. And so we have a very difficult time right now.
My car is a little way off the island right now.
No. There's, you could, let me take that back. There is a way off of the island. You have to dodge a lot of debris. We've cleared some paths. And those that want to get off the island, you certainly can. But once you get off, well, you go, if you can get to Broadway, you'll be driving on the outbound lane. Of course, the inbound lane actually is closed because of high water. But the outbound lane, you can get, I got all the way to McCoy's, and then I couldn't make it anymore. But they have since cleared it out. A couple of cars have gotten through, and we're allowing anybody who wants to leave to leave. But nobody's coming in. Yes, and now to get to Broadway is kind of tricky. The only way you can get to Broadway is down the seawall all the way back east to 8th Street, and you cut over and get on Broadway going outbound. There's no other way unless you have, something that can go through very high water. To our knowledge, no. To our knowledge, no.
So how do we analyze the comments? I don't have any depth so far.
I haven't.
Preliminary to investigating these places.
Yeah, it goes right along with what I said as far as we've only been able to make it to 11 Mile Road. And if you'll recall, the island is 32 miles long. So that gives you a little feel for, about how far we've been able to get. If you've gone out to the west end, you can see that there are still housetops and homes out there. But as far as getting there and getting to them, I just simply don't have a report back. So I'm just telling you everything I know.
Is there really structural damage inside the island?
There is. As I mentioned, the collapsed buildings as an example, the two buildings. And I can give you the approximate location. 2 apartment complexes have collapsed, Holiday and Church, and the other one is Ferry Road, First and Ferry Road. They're both pretty close to each other. And so they're multi-story apartments, and they have collapsed, and we don't know if there are people in there or not. That's why we're doing the search and rescue. We do have a number of boats that through our police department has a marine unit. I think we have about 3 boats that have been active in searching. Obviously, they can't go into too shallow of a water, but we have utilized. We also have some John boats that can get a little shallower that people need to get out.
Can you give directions to those 2 apartment complexes?
I'll talk to you. I'll give it to you after the press conference.
What kind of debris is
well, let's see. From Payco Marine, there are several boats. Those are the big objects. There are many palm trees, big old palm trees just laying across the road. There's lots and lots and lots of debris, wood, and basically trash, nails, boards with nails in them, and that sort of thing.
Are you aware of people trying to leave the island?
We've had at least a few that have left, and we're fine with that.
What do you think of all the things that are actually go out?
As far as hurt, I think the sight of seeing the Balinese room and Balinese Murdochs and Hooters all just totally gone, I think that, to me at least, is the most unexpected sight I've seen.
For that, plus the West End, which is 47% of our tax base, has taken a real beating. I'd like to wind this up because we have a lot to do. I just want to remind our citizens who may be listening to your broadcasts or reading your publications that we are again in a recovery mode. We have always been in the eye of a hurricane. This eye came right over us, stayed a while, it went on, but it brought a lot of damage to our city. As Steve said, we have no water pressure at the moment, nor do we have any power. So to those of you who left the island, I ask you to be patient. We will do everything we can to bring you home when it's safe to do so. Thank you all very much. And I'm not going to call another press conference at this time, but when we need to and have something new to tell you, I'll be happy to do it.
All right, we're listening to Lyda Thomas, the mayor of the city of Galveston, and Steve LeBlanc, the city manager. The situation for a lot of people there